Happy New Year from all of us at Trib Total Media with Super Steeler Mike Logan. I'm Ken Laird. It's Steelers 365 brought to you by Eastern H2O and the Fox Chapel Plaza, a performance sports store. What time is it, Mike? It's
Mike Logan time.
It's also off-season time. It's also time to go out and get some reactor watches at Eastern H2O. And I know you spent some holiday time at Seven Springs.
Yeah, it was nice.
Get on skis. You can take them to Eastern H2O, get them waxed up.
No skis.
Okay.
The knees and skis don't equal out to, right, success. But I did some snow tubing and had a ball.
Well, several Steelers players may be joining you up on the slopes, up on the snow tubes. They've got plenty of time on their hands now. It's over, 8-8. Although they did beat Cleveland to go out with not quite a bang, a bit of a whimper, but what does the win mean, if anything, Mike? 24-10 over Cleveland Sunday. Well,
what I'll tell you, what it meant to me was that the players still care about the season, regardless of them not being qualifying for the postseason play, and it shows you that they have some good veteran leadership on this team that's able to motivate this team and still go out there and beat a division rival game in a meaningless game. So I was happy that they went out and performed well. They beat Cleveland. Anytime you beat Cleveland, that's a great thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But still, just disappointed by them not being in postseason play.
Yeah, I think everybody is. And you look back on it, they were 2 wins out of the playoffs, but really, you beat the Bengals. That's a 2-game swing you would have been in. What was the biggest disappointment to you? Dan Kovacevic at TribLive.com singled out Lamar Woodley as his biggest individual disappointment of the year. Is there a player, or maybe even beyond a player, just kind of something with the whole team that went wrong that you thought going into the year would be much better than it was?
The biggest disappointment for me was the offensive line and the running game. I never thought that they were able to get on track, and I think this team needed that to have a successful offense. And, Ben started off the year doing relatively well. I thought him and Tar Haley wasn't going to be an issue, and ended up being a big issue towards the end of the season. But we had, first-round picks, and David DeCastro, unfortunately, he got injured. Mike Adams came in. He played 6 games, was able to start 6 games, and then he got injured. But I thought one of those 2 would come out this year and really have a stellar year and solidify the offensive line, and then it didn't happen.
They end up, with the win, dropping to 17th in the draft class. They'll have a mid-round pick there. But in the offseason, as you look forward, they've got a very interesting set of decisions on their hands. Certainly looks like Max Starks is going to be gone. He was the one stable part of that O-line, but tough decisions to make with guys like James Harrison, Keenan Lewis, Casey Hampton, even Plexico Burris for some depth at receiver. Who's the guy that jumps out to you as really the player that they need to keep or is probably going to be gone?
Mike Wallace.
Yep.
I just don't know where he fits into this Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Not just the team, the organization. His attitude was something of, I'm bigger than the team last year when he held out of training camp. He's an amazing talent. You can't find that type of speed just out there on the street. So is he, what value does he bring and at what cost to this organization? You have to weigh that out. And I think he's the biggest decision on what happens with this team as far as money goes, because right now the checkbook comes into play.
Yeah, there's no way they can afford to pay him $10 million next year. So if you were to keep him, it would be on a deal where you kind of spread out the money. But are you willing to give him that kind of
Is
deal?
he willing to accept that?
Yeah,
even after this year where he didn't have a great year statistically or for the team, is he willing to accept that? I think he overvalued himself last year. I thought he could have gained that value back this season had he performed at a very high level. That didn't happen, but you still know that he is a talent. He has something that you really can't put a price tag on, and being one of the fastest guys in the NFL. But you have a salary cap that you have to get under, and there's some big question marks on this team to fit everybody under it.
Well, it was a strange year, and it began with the Wallace holdout. I can remember vividly the first day of training camp, and Mike Tomlin was sort of secretly seething that Wallace didn't come. He thought he was going to come and at least show up and negotiate in good faith, and that's how it started. And we had the disaster in Cleveland with the running backs being pulled left and right, and Leftwich playing injured in a game that they eventually lose. And by the end of the year, Burris is back, and he's catching a pass after being inactive 2 weeks, and What a strange season.
A very strange season, and it's almost fitting that they're at home watching this playoffs because you never knew what was going to happen week in and week out with this football team. But there's definitely a boatload of talent on this team. It's just about putting it all together, seeing how the pieces of the puzzle work out while having a budget over top of your head.
Still
sounds like the fiscal cliff we got going on.
It is the Steelers' fiscal cliff. Still confident they can be a contender for the next couple years, or are we seeing the decline that might not see come back up again for a while?
I definitely think they have the potential to still be a contender year in and year out. Ben Roethlisberger as the quarterback, but I think it's going to be a contending team with a different looking roster that we've come accustomed to seeing around these parts for the past couple of years. I think there's going to be a little shakeup, some big time names that may not return to this roster, but I still think they'll be competitive at the come around next season.
Into 2013, drop the puck. Time for some hockey.
It is time for some hockey, man. I'm going crazy right now. You know, my cousin Nakia Henderson, love you. This is my sweetheart. We always try to catch a hockey game together, and no hockey this year. And me and her just sitting around looking at each other in a restaurant isn't going to do it. Bring some hockey back to me.
Is that a draft talk? Mike Logan, Ken Laird, it's Steelers 365 here on Trib Live.